The following is a YouTube-based audio production, brought to you by J.E. Realize. Really? More? J.E. Realize, haven't you had enough? I wish I could say the same, but guess what? I was taking some time for myself when I realized, yes, there were other shows I have yet to watch. Well, here we go again. These are 10 shows I have never watched, but at one point had an interest to. But first I need to say something. This is the first video I've posted in a while. Lack of social interaction for weeks on end gets to you. So in a vain attempt to increase viewer interaction, instead of asking at the end of the video for you to do the feedback thing, I'll say so before we start. Once you finish the video, do the feedback thing, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at JERealize. I mean that bit about the Twitter as I post updates frequently. But anyway, let's get started. Reaper. I had to look up the name of this show because I couldn't even remember it. Essentially, this kid's soul belongs to the devil because of some shenanigans their parents did in the day, and hilarity is supposed to ensue. Anyway, I heard about the show, and that alone got me interested in finding out more. It aired on the CW back when it was starting up in the late mid-2000s, lasted a while, then died before the end of the decade, and during that time, I for some reason forgot to watch that show. Whoops. Food Network star. Weird show to put on this list. Or any list. The first I heard of this was during my occasional doctor's checkups. I'd be in the waiting room and the TV in the corner would have Food Network on, so I'd be stuck watching Pioneer Woman for 45 minutes before being seen by my doctor. Then in the commercials I'd hear about this one show. It sounded like MasterChef, but the prize for the winner was their own Food Network original show. Seems kind of desperate to make something like that to make spin-off shows from, but if it works, then who am I to complain? But of course, who'd be caught dead watching cooking shows on satellite TV, especially when you're likely 20 years too young to be within the target demographic? Doraemon. How to deal a cheap shot. Step 1. Talk about a show that of course you're not going to watch. Step 2. Make sure it's an anime. I kind of forgot the plot to this because I got this show confused with Yokai Watch, but I think the cat-like character is supposed to be a robot from the future. Makes sense. Yokai Watch. You didn't think I'd let you off that easy, did you now? My sisters watched this show from time to time, and I was aware of some of the characters, the products, and even the video game. However, I didn't really get to watch the show itself. I don't even know who the main monster buddy is. All I know is monsters can be captured, monsters can be summoned. It's sort of like Ben 10. Speaking of which, Ben 10. All of them. How many remakes does this show need? It's like it looked at Scooby-Doo, realized how many movies and remakes it has, and said to itself, sure, I can do that. The purpose is basically use alien tokens to turn you into an alien to fight bad guys. Sounds like Digimon Season 4. But which version do I watch? I can't tell. At least some of the remakes for other shows make clear they're not like their previous iteration. See My Little Pony, Teen Titans, Voltron, but Ben 10, I can't tell the difference. Level Up. Well, guess what? Since I alluded to this show a while back, I'm now obligated to tell you about it. A group of gamers fight a bunch of video game baddies coming into their world using weapons they got from the video game and the pilot movie. Yes, there was a pilot movie, and I watched it, but since that was the only part I watched, that's why the show is on this list. Of course, rumor goes it didn't do well on a channel explicitly named for providing cartoons, so it eventually stopped airing. So when History or MTV deviates from its programming, that's okay, but CN is not at all allowed to test the waters of live-action entertainment? Goodness sake, give them a break. Quantum Leap. I heard about this show after watching a bit of Sliders. Yes, that's Sliders. Essentially, this is supposed to be one of the pioneers of the popular science fiction drama. Of course, though, I wouldn't want to watch a show that didn't get finished. But hey, it's 2020, maybe they're working on a remake right now. It's certainly a better idea than letting it hang on. The main character didn't make it home for 3 decades. Everything's getting a remake, why not this? The X-Files. I had a friend at university who swore up and down about how much he loved this series and the pairing of Mulder and Scully. Well, dang, let's see how much his face is drained of color when I tell him that I've never watched any episode of this series in my life. To be fair to him, I had opportunities to watch it. I remember the early 2000 Sunday Night Fox lineup like this: Futurama, King of the Hill, The Simpsons, Malcolm in the Middle, The X-Files. Yes, it was there. Maybe at one point I did try to watch it, but I just don't remember any of it. So that's why I included it here on this list. It's a stretch, but it's now buddied up with Fringe in this category. Prison Break. They spent how many seasons trying to break out? And in the last season they had to break back in? To be fair, this for a while was one of Fox's go-to primetime shows, so there has to be something good to watch about it, right? Unfortunately, I got nothing. 2013. The last time I made this list, I ended it with a show that was intended to be released but got cancelled. This time I'll go a bit further than that and talk about a show concept that never got pushed into film. This show is based on the aftermath of the movie 2012. For those of you who don't know, 2012 was a disaster thriller take on the 2012 Mayan end date. 2013 was supposed to be about the reconstruction of society after those events. Of course, it doesn't exist. And yes, I had hoped that it did, as I liked the movie, as silly as it sounds. It didn't matter that the events were not real or that the events were outdated, the movie was cool nonetheless, and I would have supported a spin-off series. Okay, I'm done. That's the video. This has been J.E. Realize. Remember what I said about the feedback thing? I'll see you next time, and there will be a next time. This concludes our YouTube-based audio production. I hope you enjoy, and I wish you farewell.